I'm not gonna say the boy ain't a good quarterback, but he ain't no Tom Brady. He ain't no Danny White, no John Marino.
That's who he trained with, though.
He ain't none of that. The boy at best is a second string, third string quarterback, but he is not a starter. And then you don't want this prima donna coming to your team. As a white NFL owner of a team that would like to win, you don't want this prima donna. You want one of them fast running quarterbacks like Michael Vick that's poor. You want a poor quarterback. You don't want a rich quarterback driving a Rolls Royce already with big jewelry on his neck, living in big houses, buying his daddy houses. This don't want no Super Bowl. He just want to say down, said hut. But if you go get a Poe nigga, boy, Poe go do everything that white coach said do. That coach tell him, come on, boy, let me talk to you. I told you to run this play. That Poe quarterback is go bow down and listen to that white coach and do everything that white coach said. Here you got a with money already. He got an arrogant daddy. He already arrogant. They're a superstar family.
I can't let you
he
go
ain't
like that,
gonna listen to now coach but his daddy. When I give him a playbook, he go home and him and his daddy go write new plays. I don't want this on my team. This is a prima donna, and he already come. His daddy go have something to say if we ain't doing right. So we don't want him. That's why they passed on him. This is the white man's team, and they don't want. This is what the white boy know. Now, I know y'all don't like what I'm about to say.
Wow. Hello.
Most of these NFL owners is well into their 70s, 80s, and 90s. They've been drafting longer than you've been alive. And one thing about a rich NFL owner, he specializes in. He know everything about an athletic. He know what he like in middle school. They know everything. They done called everybody and got the report sheet on this. Cause they finna get this a lot of money and they finna bring this into the plantation. The family's business. The Jones family, whatever name of the family. So they gonna get to meet the daughter, especially if you're face of the organization type. So we gonna bring this in here. This already got a Rolls Royce getting parking tickets at the college university that he won't pay. He's entitled. He's not gonna be able to take correction outside of his father. And his daddy want to be an NFL coach. We don't want them problems. We'll pass on it. That's what they did. This is our money. This is our family money. We've been studying long as y'all been alive. Y'all think y'all know, but we know because we invest a lot of money into these. We invest millions of dollars into these.
Yeah. Yeah, America's Game Show is up in this bitch, making its 25 debut. Brand new mic, brand new mind. America's Game, baby. What's happening, everybody? Prince Pierre up in here, ready to go. Had to start you off with the controversial Charleston motherfucking White. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Man. Yes, indeed. What's really popping out, man? What's really happening? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, man. What's really happening, everybody? This is Prince PL, America's Game Show host, where we talk about America's game. We talk about the politics. We talk about America's politics, America's pop culture, and American sports, man, in that particular order. And hey, we're going to talk about who's to blame today. Yeah, that's what we're talking about today. We ain't going to be in here long, man. We're going to probably stay in here no longer than 90 minutes, no shorter than an hour, but no longer than 90. So I just go by the flow as we chop it up about who's to blame, though. Who is to blame on why? We ain't talking about the NFL. Nah, we ain't talking about them. Who is the blame for Shedeur Sanders fall in the draft? Yeah, so what I talk about what y'all ain't talking about, man. I'm not gonna sit up here and regurgitate anything. And Charleston White basically told you what the pretty much the mindset of the NFL owner. But how did Shedeur Sanders them get in this predicament though? How did they get here? That's what I want to know. How did they get here? Right? And why did he go 5 overall, fifth round in the draft? Why did he do it? You know, is it Deion to blame for him to fall in the draft, or is it Shedeur's blame that he fell in the draft? Well, there between America's Game, man. America's Game Show. America's Game Show. Game is an acronym for God's appointed message of enlightenment. That's what we bring here. We go to the holiest biblios, the sum book with this game. That's what we start now. And this is based off Matthew 25, 1 through 13. We're not gonna read all that, but it's basically, when you summarize it, it's basically about the 10 virgins. 5 of them was prepared to be married, and the other 5 was not prepared to be married. And that's really what it is. They didn't have their oil. He didn't have his oil together. He didn't have what he needed. He didn't have his information together. Shedeur Sanders, somebody let Shedeur Sanders down. Shedeur Sanders went in the meetings and everything and was not prepared. He was trying to be married to a team at a very high level. Pretty much he's a bride trying to get with the bridegroom, and the bridegroom is the NFL team. You're trying to be a top. As far as producing is there, you're trying to come to a union with a team. And you're trying to be the top. You ain't trying to be the rest, you're trying to be the top. You're trying to be the one that is about the business. So we're just going to go through a chronological order, man, on this situation, on how everything went down. And we won't let y'all decide who the blame is. And y'all can tap in the comments. Y'all can also like and subscribe. Like this video. I'm not going to keep telling y'all to do it, because no. I'm going to tell you once, twice. Like this video. Share this video. Subscribe to this channel. Get me to 1,000. Get me to 1,000. And that's all I'm going to tell you. So let's get into this game, right? So let me go on and play my little background music and get you going. So here you go. It might be a little loud for me. Okay, because it ain't loud for y'all. It's just loud for me. So it's just what it is. Entering the 2024 Colorado season, after he came off that 4-8 campaign, his draft projection at the time, when people was talking about if Shedeur Sanders have a good year, and a good year was winning 7 games. That was considered a good year. And they already projected him to be, at that time, he was a top 2 quarterback projection in last year's. After the last year's draft, and they put out who was going to be the top prospect for the 2025 draft at quarterback, he was the top 2 quarterback. So when he ended that season, he didn't do anything during that season to drop him out of the top 2 at the quarterback position. You could say that he probably was the number 1 quarterback in there. Then Cam Ward came on the scene. And when Cam Ward came on the scene, people were saying, okay, right now they even. Some people say Cam Ward is better. But it came down. You had those bowl games. I know they played in Alamo, Colorado, and then the bowl game where Miami played. Cam Ward only played a half. He sat down. They ended up losing the game. Shedeur played the whole game and didn't have a good game in the Alamo Bowl against BYU. So we get into the draft process. I heard rumors that he wasn't going to an institute. He didn't hire an agent. Deion said he'll represent him. He don't need to really pay no agent because that's just a waste of money. The NFL teams came up there all doing, the NFL scouts all doing that 24 season came up there. Deion talked to him. All the scouts said, yeah, they think he's a good player. They like him. He never got a bad report from no scouts that visited the CU campus. There was never no doubt in Deion's mind and Shedeur's mind that they wasn't going in the top 5 of this draft. Because the scouts, and he met a lot of the people in the NFL during that 24 campaign because they want to see him in live in game, you know, against Baylor and all their home games that they had. Where he threw the Hail Mary and came back and made a lot of plays. Ended up finishing with 37 touchdowns. I think only, 10 picks. He had a great season. He had a great, and threw for almost 4,000 yards, over 4,000 yards. So he had a great campaign in his second year. There was one game away from probably having an opportunity to win the Big 12 championship. That was in Lawrence, Kansas. They started out slow. They did make a run and try to make it a game of it, but they ran out of time. Then they come back home against Oklahoma State, dominate Oklahoma State. You know, Travis Hunter had, 3 touchdowns in that game? And as we look at everything said, okay, we're getting in the draft. Well, Shedeur, Deion and Shedeur, they didn't go to the institutes like all the players do, which is a combine, an NFL combine, preparatory institute to get you ready for the draft. They bypassed it. They think they didn't need it. He was a senior. He didn't go down to the Senior Bowl. He didn't participate in the Senior Bowl. Well, when you're a top 5 player, you don't need it. He goes to the combine. He don't throw at the combine. Because all through the history of probably the last 10 years, if you're a top 5 quarterback, you don't have to throw. You just go in and do your interviews. Then he had the infamous press conference where he just told the people, if you don't think I'm the guy that could come in here and change the culture and make it a winning culture, I'm not the guy for you. My resume speaks for itself. So people came out there saying he was a little what? A little pompous, a little arrogant. He basically just talking about what he went through Jackson State, what he went through when he was over there at Colorado. He took he came in when these programs were downtrodden and basically turned them around. He turned around Jackson State. Jackson State just won changed the culture, and they won a Celebration Bowl this past season. I look for the Colorado Buffaloes this coming up season after Travis Hunter, Shedeur, and Deion built the foundation for that program to most likely win the Big 12 championship in 25. But because those teams were so the cover was bare on those teams as far as talent-wise, he came in down with just him, Travis Hunter, you could say Shiloh, if you want to claim him. And what ended up happening is they turned it around. So that's what he told them at the press conference, right? At the combine. So after that press conference, people still said, "Oh, okay. Yeah, he a little brash, he a little arrogance." But he wasn't being arrogant. He was just talking about what he experienced in his 2 university stints in his last 4 years being a a collegiate quarterback, right? So we move on. Still, nobody's saying nothing bad about Shedeur. Nobody said anything bad about Deion. They did say that might be some teams that Shedeur might not want to play for, but we don't know who those teams were. So the media really didn't blow it out of proportion. Nobody blew it out of proportion during the process. But when we get to draft day, that's right, this past Thursday, everybody had him projected to go 9th and 21. Because we did find out that the Giants didn't like it. Okay, well, we didn't trip on the Giants. Giants are idiots. Really, nobody respects the Giants right now as far as them drafting. I mean, they let a running back go down the damn street, I-95 down the street, and go to Philly and be great. I mean, the Giants in the business of making Philadelphia Eagles great. But I digress. So nobody took them seriously. So we come down and say, okay, the Saints. Okay, the Saints. Makes sense, the Saints. You got a brand new coach. You got a brand new coach. You got Kellen Moore. He done had success with 2 melanated American players, Dak Prescott, and got the ultimate level that got him a head coaching job with Jalen Hurts. Now everybody looked at the draft process of all these players in 2016 and I think 2021. Everybody probably in their humble opinion in January of this year would say Shedeur is better than Dak at the time when Dak came through the process, and Shedeur is better than Jalen Hurts when Jalen Hurts came through the draft process. We talk about the draft process, people. We're not talking about what the players end up becoming. You're talking about going through the same journey that Shedeur went through. And people said, well, Dak, he's an erratic quarterback, he's an erratic passer. But he can run a little bit and all that. Same with Jalen Hurts, erratic passer. But he can run like the wind. So if you looked at that process and you say, okay, if you was drafting, you would probably take Shedeur over Dak in 2016, and you definitely would take Shedeur over Jalen Hurts in 2021. Why? Because Shedeur can pass the ball. He was the most accurate quarterback in this draft. More accurate than Cam Wolf. Excellent ball placement. He throws people open. That's the number one attribute in this. That's probably the number 2 attribute in the league. Actually, really one. Is accuracy and throwing, and accuracy and accuracy. Ball placement accuracy. Basically, he got what we'll say Troy Aikman accuracy. That was his number one attribute coming out in '89. Aikman was the most accurate quarterback with ball placement, throwing people open, and knowing when to throw the ball behind them to protect them from getting killed. Knowing how to throw, he can throw the back shoulder fade, which is one of the hardest throws to throw, is the back shoulder fade. He can throw that all day. He can throw the deep ball. He can throw the immediate round. He can throw the flag. He can put the ball in. He can put the ball in tight windows. Already he can do that. That's on film. Can he run? No, he don't have. He's not blessed with Deion's running ability, and he was not blessed with Josh Allen's rocket arm. But his intangibles is what he got. So you look at it and say, he's going to the Saints. Ain't no doubt he going to the Saints. A good football culture down there. He go down there and he can be, you know what I'm saying, the talk of the town. Then, well, guess what happened next? Guess what happens next? Huh? You got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everything says Pittsburgh. Oh, Pittsburgh got to take it. No, they don't take it. They don't take it. Said, oh, okay. So everybody was surprised. That was here the day one because there was nobody else that was going to take him. That was the two teams that was going to take him at 9 and at 21. So nobody said, okay, well, nobody worrying about it. But you had another team that was supposed to also take him. We said, okay, the Raiders need a quarterback. Tom Brady. So they got Geno over there, even though they just signed Geno, but Geno is a decent quarterback. But everybody said, well, Shedeur got an opportunity to be a damn good quarterback to a great quarterback in this league. Because he already possessed everything that Geno had. He in his process, he better than Geno. But is Geno today better than him? You could say so. But if you look at when Geno was taken, in 2015, 2016, something, 2015? And he failed in the draft too, because he was supposed to get, they thought he was going to go high. But he had a little issues though. So they said, well, the Raiders going to take him. So the second day we said, okay, the Raiders would get him. We don't think Cleveland going to take him. Nobody thought Cleveland was touching him. Cleveland ended up having the players they were drafted. So we saw that the Raiders was trading down in the draft. Oh, okay, they putting themselves in position to get Shedeur. End up getting in reports that Pete Carroll didn't like him. That's the red flag. Pete Carroll don't like him. That Pete Carroll don't like you at all. So after we find out that Pete Carroll doesn't like him, he slides and we know where he goes. So the mistake. So let's get to the blame. Number one mistake that they made was they didn't hire an agent. And unfortunately, I think Deion didn't trust no agents. The only agent he trusted was the agent he had when he played would be Eugene Parker. But unfortunately for him, he passed away a decade ago. They didn't get an agent. That's the number one mistake they made. And I have to put that one on Deion Sanders. Because if Deion had an agent, then they could have got a true assessment of what the NFL thought. Because the NFL lied to Deion's face. Because he's a conflict of interest. What that means is they're not going to really tell him that, hey, I think your son, you know what I'm saying, need to do this and do that. But they'll tell that agent, say, hey, we think the kid is a little arrogant. We think the kid is a little pompous. We think the kid is a little too flashy for our liking. So they could have found that out during the season. Because they got a false assessment from the NFL. They got a false assessment. The NFL lied to them, but they will lie to you. They won't lie to an agent. That's the only good reason you have to have an agent. And then if you had an agent, Shedeur would have been able to go to an institute. So say people gonna pass up on the Senior Bowl, he could have just went to the institute. You stay in the institute all the way into the combine. A week before the combine, you probably leave and relax. And what they do is they get you prepared for the whole combine experience. They get you ready for the whole combine experience. Told him to be you, but you probably got to just pump it up a little bit, be a little more animated. So let's just say who you wanted to play for, then you would ask him, the agent say, who you want to play for? Who are the teams that you like? Oh man, I like the Giants. I like the Saints. I like the Raiders. He said, okay, this is what we do. We're gonna get you prepared for those teams. Now this is what we'll do. You will interview with those teams and you interview with 5 more teams. So now you give me 5 other teams that if it go awry, who would you do? That's how they would plan it up. And they would set them up on the interview process and they would just tell them, hey, when you go in the interview process, might need to be suited and booted when you go in there with the 3 teams that you want to actually play for. So if you is there that day, calm down a little bit. Don't wear the jury. If you do wear the jury, then you're gonna have to come in with a little animated. You probably got to be like your daddy. You're gonna probably have to come on and talk. You're gonna have to pump them up. You're gonna have to go in there and pump them up, get them ready for you. Not more sitting back. So that's what he needed to do. Other thing he would have could have done was actually played in the Senior Bowl. Yeah, he should have played in the Senior Bowl. Now, I didn't tell it online or whatever, but I remember I said, man, I think he should play in that Senior Bowl so he can get around the elite talent and show everybody that he's elite. The last guy that did that played in the Senior Bowl was Philip Rivers. And Philip Rivers had a awkward throwing motion, if you remember. He played in the Senior Bowl. He played at NC State. NC State didn't win a whole lot of games. They won like 6. He probably won 6, 7, 8 games at the most while he was there all those years. But they had a terrible defense and they had kind of average wide receiver talent. But he kept them in football games every week when he was at NC State. And then when he played in the Senior Bowl. And he had an outstanding Senior Bowl. And we ended up knowing what happened with Philip Rivers. He ended up going top 3 in the draft right there in 2006 or 5. No, 2004. My bad, in 2004. Because that was infamous Eli Manning draft when they had Eli. Eli went 1. 3 was the Giants. And then remember they switched the picks. They traded the picks, and they ended up because Philip Rivers actually got drafted by the Giants, and San Diego drafted Eli, and they switched the picks. And at that time, Philip Rivers was slated to. Before that process, he wasn't even on nobody's radar. So Shedeur should have went to the Senior Bowl. He actually needed that Senior Bowl, and I think any agent would have told him that your personality probably with owners and big decision makers doesn't come off great, but to players and to certain coaches, you know, corporate minded coaches and them might not like you, but players and the people and assistant coaches and things like that probably love you, right? So what you needed to show was 100% competitiveness. That's all you had to show. So even you come into that with that attitude, he could say, "Hey, at the Senior Bowl, I threw for 3. I threw for 240 yards and threw 3 touchdowns at the Senior Bowl." Because that's actually his personality. He likes to ride off what he just accomplished. So if he does the Senior Bowl, that helps him. So now his personality, he got something immediately back in his personality. The next thing he should have done, this is what he should have done, was competed at the combine. Because if he goes to the combine and throws, all he had to do was do what his daddy did. His daddy did his best attribute. He showed everybody he ran a 4.27. All Shedeur had to show that he was the best passer at the combine. He do that, he's going top 5 in the draft. So when he goes to the interview process, he could sit back and say, "Yeah, y'all saw what I did out there. I'm the best passer in this draft. I'm better than Cam Ward." So we go into Tennessee to their face. I'm the best passer in this place. I love my teammates over there in Colorado, but that was a rebuild. You understand? We took something that wasn't nothing and made it respectable and made it very competitive and was 1 or 2 games away from probably being in the playoffs. But guess what? I take full I take accountability for that. I had a couple of subpar games. That's why we didn't make it. That's all he had to do, because he needed to be able to back off what he just done during the process, so his thing come in there. So uh, agent was the first thing. Now who's the blame for the agent not being around? That would have to be Coach Prime, because Coach Prime posted that prep to see it and said, okay, I went in there and ran at the combine, kid. You got to throw at the combine. Deion supposed to told him throw at the combine. That's what they need. That's what they need to see. Like Deion came in there sucker and he ran. He left. Told him on the 5 teams. I'm only talking 5 teams. But Deion went over there and ran and left. That's what Shedeur supposed to went over there and passed. And interview with those 5 teams. And he should interview with only 5 teams, the top 5 teams he wanted to play for. Blow their socks off and leave. And don't interview with nobody else. That's it. You know, 5 teams you're supposed to go meet with in individual workouts or whatever. When you go team visit them, visit those 5 teams and go. The Giants, the Saints, the the Titans, the Browns, the Giants, the Saints. Well, you can take the Browns out, probably 16. The Saints, the Raiders, and the Steelers. 6 visits, 6 interviews. Knock them out and go sit down. Remember, Deion had an agent. His agent was Eugene Parker. Eugene Parker told him what to do, told him to be himself on the interview with 5 teams. Show everybody your best quality at the combine, and you be set to go. This blame goes to Deion, because our Deion should have told him to do your best attributes. Now, what would have trumped him to probably pass Cam Ward is if he had a did the combine, did the Senior Bowl, and interview and kill those interviews. And also, he would have had an agent. He would have made sure to interview and make sure he find out when Cam Ward interview and find out, get some information on Cam Ward. And I have to give Cam Ward credit. He befriended the guy to get over on him. That would have happened with me. I would have told him on the phone, don't come around me. I'm competing against you. I think that's, and I believe that Shedeur got a competitive nature, but that's what he should have showed, competitiveness. See, when you're an asshole, that means you got to be competitive. But guess who's an asshole? Phillip Rivers. Talk much noise. He wasn't friend with nobody. He was over there cussing out. Well, he didn't cuss. He was over there telling Jay Cutler, you ain't no good. You ain't nothing. You beneath me. That's what, and that's how actually what Phillip Rivers did in his. That's what he told the team he interviewed. He came out pretty much just as Shedeur, but he's more animated with it. He just told him sit back, and then he talked that draw. You know, yeah. Oh, you get me, man. I'm gonna come over here. I'm putting up numbers. Wide receivers gonna love me. Offensive line gonna love what I do and what I'm about and what I do and what I stand on. That's what it's about, man. I think he was a little too laid back in these interviews. I think when he walked in these interviews, he's a guy that he's not looking for them. I don't think. I think when he went to the Giants, he walked in there. They didn't shake his hand. They didn't say, "Hey, how you doing, Shedeur? What's going on?" I think they said, "Go in there, yeah, sit down." They treated him low. They treated him bad, or they treated him with some malcontent and some condescending. But he was not prepped for that because Deion did not get him what he needed. They did not get that buffer. Sanders and them did not get that buffer, man, so they could get accurate information about what the league's true assessment was. So if they got the true assessment, then the agent could have put out there that they got you scheduled to be a second and third round grade. They believe that you is the number two quarterback, the best quarterback in the process, but they think that it's some issues. They think, and it's not no major issues. They just think, well, you've been around your daddy all your life. We don't know if you're gonna accept coaching. So if he went to the Senior Bowl, he would have had what? Different coaching. He'd have went out there and had a good game. He didn't do none of this stuff, but that was a mistake. He was a senior. He should have played in it. And he also had a bad performance, so he definitely needed that off that Alamo Bowl. He needed that. He needed that Senior Bowl game. And then what he would have did with the Senior Bowl game is he would have brought fanfare to that Senior Bowl game. That Senior Bowl game would have sold out, and then he would have been looked like that he was a pro what money making attraction. Based off competition, the league would have seen a money making attraction. That would have actually put him over Cam Ward. Oh yeah, that would have put him over Cam Ward. He'd have win number one. He went to Senior Bowl, and all he had to go in there, throw 3 touchdowns, no interception, have a good game. Everybody would have went to Mobile. I would have went to Mobile if he said he was going. I've been to Mobile 3 times. It could have been a big fair down there. Deion could have went down there, you know what I'm saying? Chopped it up, you know what I'm saying? Then really would have got it. See, down at the Senior Bowl, they would have got a true assessment. They needed that Senior Bowl. That Senior Bowl was very, very vital. If he just did the Senior Bowl, lit it up there, just announced it right after the forward, I'm going to the Senior Bowl, y'all. That would have brought me. You know how many fans would have bought tickets to see him? And that's what he needed. They need to see the attraction. See, what Deion does, he's a marketer. They should have marketed him, and they didn't market him. They thought that the Colorado, no, you should have got out there and marketed him. Senior Bowl was important because fans would have went out there in droves. Everybody from Mobile, Houston, all down on the I-10 corridor, all the way from Miami, man, they would have had the Eastern Seaboard, the Southern Eastern Seaboard would have been over there. And the Southeastern Conference, everybody would have came out there. They would have sold that sucker out. And we'd have done that. Now Tennessee is what? This kid did what? And I don't know if the Tennessee Titan people was down there. I have to look it up and see who was coaching down there. Yeah, we do research on things as we do this show. Let me see who the 2025 Senior Bowl coaches was. 2025 Senior Bowl coaches. So it was the Browns. It said Senior Bowl coaches was the Browns and the Giants. So the Browns and the Giants. So definitely he needed to been down there. That was bad. See what I'm saying? I didn't even know. That's terrible. That's terrible. You needed to been down there. Because say he'd have got on the Giants, right? And the Giants would have had him for a week. He would have been able to run the Giants stuff for a week. He would have went out there, man, and he could have shined. He would have been guaranteed to be number 3. He could have been guaranteed to be number 2. So the 2 and 3 was down at the Senior Bowl. That is a mistake. That is a damn mistake. Nobody's talking about this. I ain't talking about things at America's Game Show that people don't talk about. I don't talk about what these suckers talk about. I know this game like the back of my hand. I know football. I've been studying football for over 30 years, man. I've been actually 35. 35 years. They should have. He went to that Senior Bowl. They missed an opportunity there. They had an opportunity to get in there. That was basically a free thing. All he had to do was just beat him. Go in there that whole week, do his thing. He could have even still had his little old flash on, but it's still been him and went out there and worked and outworked everybody on that field. Would have been the most accurate pass on that doggone field. And he would have lights out. He had to go where he could be the best at, and he could have shined at, and they could see him against the best, and he would have been straight. And he would have beat Cam Ward ass out. That should have been his mind. I'm beating Cam Ward. That's what I'm finna do. I got to beat this guy. They did in the draft probably could have been Shedeur one, Cam Ward probably two. It'd have been a done deal. He needed to one up Cam Ward. He needed that. Then you had the Browns and the Giants, and then the Titans would have. Yeah, yeah. Got to blame Deion for that because he didn't get him prepared, man, for what he needed to be prepared. He didn't, or because he busy too. He got we got to be real with Deion. He got a team to coach. He got to coach for 25, so he got things he got to do. So he couldn't micromanage everything. All he could do was just say work out every day. Put your workouts and everything on display and do all that. Do all that. But that was the mistake. Was no agent. There's a lot of other stories that came out about he didn't show up to a production meeting. Who cares about a production meeting? He showed up to all the team meetings. He showed up to everything else he's supposed to be. Give a damn about a production meeting. Fuck a production meeting. That's for TV. Who cares? You can talk to him if you want to. Should he show up to that? Yes. But he didn't want no part of it. So I ain't mad at him on that. He's a football player. Go play football. And then I'm winning the game anyway, so it don't matter. But at the end of the day, um, Deion Sanders uh, messed up a little bit. Messed up big time. Should have got him an agent. Didn't have to get the agent until December. You need an agent until November last year. It's when you probably need around November. So then, around November, you hire the agent. He come over there and look over things, get everything where it need to go. Next thing, yeah, because he would have brought a fanfare down there, would have sold that sucker out. He ain't playing no. He would sold that sucker out, and that would have been it. He would have sold that damn thing out. Could have sold his merch. He could have killed down there. He missed the money making opportunity. He could have went down there, man, set up about 3 or 4 vendors down there, man. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, during the week, during the practice week, could have had a couple of vendors out there selling legendary merch. He could have made a probably quick $200,000-300,000 if he went to the Senior Bowl. So we got to look at the whole mindset of the other Hassanas. They hustlers, they gamers. They like to, they like to go get the bag. But they missed the bag opportunity there. Could it make it easy? Probably $200,000-300,000. And he had a good Senior Bowl game, man. Yeah, everybody would have been talking about that. Said the game was a high-scoring game. He drove him down in the last 2 minutes, man, and scored a touchdown. That would have elevated him over. He would have been uh, elevated over Cam Ward. He could have got past Cam Ward. He was content on being the number 2 guy. That's not good. That's not good. But that don't mean he ain't gonna go out there and do his job. As of right now, he's in Cleveland. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's doing he already doing the work in the community. He doing the community service work. I think he ended up getting a gang of kids, a gang of things. I think he went to some school here. I forgot what he ended up giving. He gave the kids some things. So he's doing good community work. He's doing for the kids. He's talking to them. He's doing what he's supposed to do. So he do all the little things as far as the charity work and all that like a daddy do. So he'll do that. He also would do his football work. He's gonna work out every day. He's gonna train. He's gonna work his butt off. He's gonna do that. He's gonna do that. What I blame for Shedeur Sanders is he didn't sell himself. And not selling yourself like you are 304, but just selling yourself, letting your game sell yourself by participating in the Senior Bowl, throwing at the combine. That's only 2 physicals because he knew he was gonna throw at his pro day, but he should have threw at the combine. He should have played in the Senior Bowl. I think he ain't gonna get no more about 30 snaps in the Senior Bowl at the most. So, and he could have made a lot of plays. Probably could have. He might have set a record out there that day. He might have lit it up. And I know if they'd have just announced that he was going to the Senior Bowl, he would have guaranteed himself. He would have guaranteed himself probably the number. He could have possibly got the number one pick. But and on the interview with the teams he wanted to play for, and he would have been able to walk in that sucker and be the best interview. So if you feel like the Giants are the team you want to play for, you don't want no part of them, don't interview with them. And if you do interview with them, you got to go in there ready to go and stomp down by having the information that you need to have on what they looking for on the whiteboard. He had a cheat code, he didn't take it. When the Giants was the goddamn coaching staff at that Senior Bowl, you should have been at that Senior Bowl, regardless if you played for them or not. They would at least saw you that week. They would at least saw you in the game. They would have saw your work ethic. They would have saw what you was about. And then when you went in there, David wouldn't be able to come with that crap. Because what would happen is when they came back and talked to Dable, they talked to the head coach Dable, John, he wouldn't be able to come with that crap. He would have to come with some respect. He would have to come with instant respect. Playing that Senior Bowl play, you can get respect. He would have got instant respect. They said, okay, this guy here, somebody. Okay, this guy here. And he probably got an infectious personality if you really get to know him. In the interview process, he probably is not that impressive. But if you sit back and just have a chop up session with him, he's impressive with the chop up session. But they're trying to find out what's about you. But what he didn't do, he put himself in position to base off his play where he could be himself. Like an infamous thing, man, you know what I'm saying? It's like Jason's lyric. He has what you call a Josh mentality without the craziness. He said, how you get up here? How you get through them? Man, you see them niggas downstairs? So he walk in the locker room, he walk in there in an interview process and they ask him a question. Yeah, I seen that interception you threw, man, back when you was over there at Colorado. I said, yeah. Did you see what I did at the Senior Bowl this past week? 2 months ago? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I got better. Yeah, I don't make the same mistake twice. Because you just saw what I did at that game, right? Then you go over there and you throw it to senior, and you go into the combine. Yeah, we saw you at the combine. Yeah, you saw me. You saw me. I was the best thrower at the combine. It's nobody in this draft process that's more accurate than me. I throw guys open. I make guys better. Man, I took a corner and made him a number 2 wide receiver. Overall, made him a number 1 wide receiver. Quit talking to me, man. So that's a difference. See, you could be arrogant, but you got to stay facts, stacks, and exacts. Well, here, mate, we can tell him. I turn guys, man. I turn guys into somebody. Cause he played double, yeah. Cause he played double duty. That's why I ain't getting no Heisman Trophy. Mm, mm. Cause he do both. I'm just the quarterback. That's the point. That's what's wrong. That is what's wrong. So you look at the Genesis and the revelation of this message. They're both Christians. They're both biblical thinkers. They both supposed to have. They kind of have a biblical worldview. They just forgot to do what they're supposed to do in Matthew 25. Make sure their oil barrels is full. Their oil barrels wasn't full. They wasn't prepared. They knew what they had to do. They just didn't do a thing that they needed it. They didn't get that buffer. They didn't get that buffer. They didn't get that confidential informant. They didn't get the true information and true assessment because by the time he stopped at the Alamo Bowl, you come after that Alamo game, whatever, say you come on that Monday after the Alamo game, and then the agent walk in there and say, check this out. This is what you need to do. You need to announce, because I think what happened. So you was 3 weeks away. Agent said, let me see what you need to do. You need to announce that you're going to play in the Senior Bowl. It's also a marketing opportunity. Also, you can see merch. You can also, and announce it. So all you had to do was go on Twitch or go on your social medias, give a press conference, and say, yeah, man, we heading to the Senior Bowl. After the Senior Bowl, you go to the Institute. Throw at the combine. So who is to blame? I have to blame Deion Sanders for not getting the agent. I have to blame Shedeur for not fighting for that number one spot. He conceded it. He just cared about what he he didn't have. I think he got the competitive nature, but he wasn't competitive in this situation. I think he ready to play the game, but he wasn't competitive in the all around of the game. He did not have what I would say. He ain't got that Michael Jordan itch on him where he got to compete at everything. He didn't have that mindset that he just knew he was gonna get drafted 9 or 21. He was just content to get to this league and get to work. So he's really not motivated by money. Because he was motivated by money, he would have, he would have did everything he would needed to do to try to beat Cam Ward. That should have been his goal. But Deion, he don't really preach that. He preach you be you and do your job. Deion don't think he competing against nobody. That's the Deion mentality. We go out there to do our best. But in this process, he needed to be competitive and say, I got to beat this Cam Ward guy. If he had a concept to beat Cam Ward, he could actually beat Cam Ward. And if he didn't beat Cam Ward, he would have been guaranteed to go to the Giants, or he'd been guaranteed to go to the Saints, and he would not have went no lower the than the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the blame I put on him for not saying I got to beat this Cam Ward guy. I got to one up this guy every time I do it. I know, hey, what you doing? I ain't doing nothing, man. I ain't got to do much. Okay. Institute, Senior Bowl Institute. Even if he didn't have an agent, went to the Senior Bowl on his own, went to the doggone thing, went to the Institute anyway, got prepared. So even if he had a bad meeting with the Giants, say at Colorado, say if he had a bad meeting with the Giants when he was at the Senior Bowl, when he went to the combine, he'd have walked to the Giants business. He would have been able to what? Tell him what it was, what it is, what it's gonna be. In a nice competent fashion, based off what he recently have done in the draft process, based on football acumen and what they seeing him doing and playing football, he would have been able to stand on that and be good. Deion is to blame because he didn't have the overall look for him. Deion didn't tell him, throw. You got to throw at the combine, son. You just do. I ran, you throw. As I close this down and talk about what he got to do now, because the percentage of blame, I give Deion 65% of the blame, and I give Shedeur 35% of the blame. I have to give Deion more of the blame because Deion been there and done it before. And Deion, he had an up on him because he was already playing professional baseball. So he had an up on the league, so they couldn't really play with him. But Shedeur was not in that position. So Sanders Coach Prime should have just had him a good agent that he knew that he could trust, you know, people that he knew, and just made a phone calls around about December, say, and got an agent or got a liaison type of agent, and be like, hey, I just need you to go check out and get the true information for me, and let's get a true evaluation so we know what to do. And I mean, we could have made it a fanfare out here and probably could have really pushed some things because Shedeur sells tickets. So that's why I'm stressing that Senior Bowl was very important for him. He needed that because he needed the attraction. Even though it's about football, you have to show that you can sell tickets sell tickets. At something nothing really sells tickets at. Nobody that place don't sell out, but it could have sold out. Might could have changed the game where the Senior Bowl could have been a big marketing opportunity for him. And that could have blew him out. And that's the mistake of Shedeur Sanders. He should have competed against Cam. He should have said, I'm better than this goddamn motherfucker. He ain't beating me. And if he do beat me, he's guaranteed to go top five, top five, top 10, or top 21 pick in this draft. That's the mistake he made. Because he think he better than him, but he should have showed him he should have showed him that he was. Mm. And he should have showed the NFL he was in the combine. But guess what? He got an opportunity to show everybody he better than Cam Ward now. But guess what? Cam Ward always had more money than him. Cam Ward got a $50 million head start. The good about Shedeur is a good marketer off the field. So Cam Ward got a personality of paint. Shedeur Sanders, the ladies love Shedeur. The players love Shedeur. The game loves Shedeur. The niggas love Shedeur. All you gotta do is produce. He in a predicament where I think he can win in this predicament. But it costs himself a lot of green, costs himself a lot of that money. And that's one thing the Sanders don't do. They don't drop the bag. And Deion Sanders let his son drop the motherfucking bag. Because Sanders had the key to this process. Shedeur needed done everything in the process, but keep that smile on the face. He could have been. He could have rolled up in May. He could have done. He could have been him. He could have rolled up in Maybach. He could have done him. He could have got out and limos and did. He could have done everything he was. All he had to do was say, "I'm beating this Cam Ward. I'm more flashy. I'm more fly than him. I got more gain than him. Man, I'm more accurate than him. I sell tickets everywhere I go. This man ain't no better than me. He ain't no salesman. He can't market himself. He basically needed the Floyd man. He needed the Floyd Mayweather mindset where he got out there and just talk straight. No, went in that motherfucker and just told him, man, I'm better than Cam Ward. You wasting your time with Cam Ward. Well, his friend, fuck him. He ain't my fucking friend. Yeah. I want my money. You're right. Self-preservation, number one. Hey, they got a real adversarial relationship. I should have played it for you. But that's who he should have went after. That's all he had to do. Shedeur. He didn't do it. Now he's over there in Cleveland, where he should have been with the New Orleans Saints. That was the ideal place for him, I think. I think that was the ideal place for him. He would have played in a climate controlled environment, and he would have set up there, and he would have been able to shine in that dome. That dome patrol was going down. So ain't nobody talking about that. Ain't no pronosticator told this motherfucker. There's nobody told him you got to beat Cam, goddamn. And if you go after Cam, you go after Cam Ward, your ass would have been in the top 10, in the top 10, top 21 in this draft. You'd have been guaranteed to go in the first damn round if he went after Cam. There was no way in the hell you playing that Senior Bowl. You throw the football at the combine, they wouldn't have been able to deny you. They would have had to draft you. because you would have done something nobody else do. Compete in everything that everything that NFL has to offer. You compete, goddamn it, during the draft process. You understand me? You didn't bring your oil, man. You didn't fill your oil up. You didn't. You was like them other five. You need to do a little extra. But the extra that you would have done would have made you a lot of money. You needed the extra. There's some guys that did everything and didn't help them. They still win in the third and fourth and fifth and sixth round. But if you did it, guaranteed to be top, man. Guaranteed to be top in the game. Guaranteed, man. Guaranteed, man. You could have showed them that you was the best. That's right. You could have claimed your rights, Shedeur. America's Game. This America's Game show where we tell you what it is, what it was. Because we're America's Game show. We don't give a hot digger that D-A-M. We put it down. That was it. We ain't gonna get that advice from Travis. Travis was sad. He got traded up for. Shallow. He's not that good. You got Horn and them boys, they got drafted. But as I finish, let's talk about the 25 season after the mistakes that both of the prime man made and the young man made. The 2025 Colorado Buffalo got the same dynamic he came in with. Got an upcoming quarterback in Juju. And got a dynamic playmaker in Josh Gibson. Colorado got two. They built the defense up. I think they got better at linebacker, better on the D-line, and better at corner. They didn't get better at corner. I apologize for that. But they're all right at corner. Not going to get better than Travis Hunter. Here in the second season over there in the Big 12. And in his third season in Colorado. What Deion got to do, they got to win that Big 12. He got to show that everything's pretty much in place. The coaching staff is in place. He got Marshall Faulk over there. Add him to the running back room. He got Warren Sapp. He basically calling the defense. He damn near finna call the defense. I think that Deion is setting it up for Warren Sapp to be the next head coach at Colorado. I think Warren Sapp is being set up to be the next head coach of Colorado, man. Because I think Deion probably coach at Colorado for no more than 3 seasons. This could be his last year there, but no more than 3. Don't be surprised if Warren Sapp is the next head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. And Warren Sapp will hang over there for a while. And I think that Deion probably could win 10 to 11 games in this campaign, in that conference. Can they fall off and win 7? Yeah, if the kids is just if Juju is not ready, and not ready to go. Well, if that quarterback is ready to go and he's ready to be good and able to be a dynamic, he's faster than Shedeur. He ain't a better passer than him, but he's faster than Shedeur, so he'll be able to get out a lot of situations. They can run some RPO with him, and they can make a lot of plays. And then I think they could actually quarterback and the receiver talent might not be what they had when they had Shedeur and Travis, but the bread and butter, the offensive line and the defensive line and the meat and potatoes is better, and they'll uh, be able to dominate in the game. So I think the Colorado's gonna have a good team. I think they can win 10 to 11 football games in this year and put themselves in position to win the Big 12. They'll be in the college football playoff, and that would be a big accomplishment for Deion Sanders as a coach. This would be the season he gets respect as a top NCAA head coach. This is his season where he's gonna be showing that he's dominant. Shedeur Sanders, what he has to do, compete. He's better than Dylan Gabriel. He's better than that. He's better than that bum, Kenny Pickett. And because he's younger, he's better than Joe Flacco. Because Joe Flacco probably his arm is probably just a little bit stronger than him now, just a little bit. Even though Flacco had a hose, and I was at the Senior Bowl when Flacco was there. Flacco was a guy that went to the Senior Bowl out of Delaware and put himself in the first round. So Flacco and went and in it in Baltimore. But he had a hose though. But he had to go show everybody that he was great. He had to show everybody he had ability, and he did. And that's the last guy that went to say a weak school or a weak conference and put himself in the first round. He went to Baltimore, I think, in the 15th, 16th pick. So I'm just telling y'all, he got an opportunity in Cleveland to be somebody. It's just Cleveland is in a division that's very tough. But he got to compete. He got to go out there with the mentality. That's why he got to go out with the mentality, man, that he got to be better than them guys. That means he got to win shootouts, man, against the Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. I would have loved him in New Orleans because he already had to worry about his Bryce Young and Baker Mayfield. Damn it, that ain't that's average. Mm. So now he got to compete for the rest of his career to be better than them guys. Because if he ain't, he's not gonna make it in Cleveland. And it's gonna be rough to be better than them guys, right? Number one overall, and number 31 overall, 32 overall, MVP, two-time MVP, potential MVP guy, and a Super Bowl participant in Joe Burrow. But hey, man, iron sharpens Zion, baby. So Shedeur got an uphill climb, man. But as I close today, man, this has been America's Game Show. I gladly appreciate everybody for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe to this game, America's Game. This message was inspired by Matthew 25, 1 through 13. For a lack of preparedness, for the knack of not filling your plate up and exalting every opportunity to show greatness as you can. Because what we have learned, that Shedeur needed them opportunities to show everybody that he was different and that he was a grade A above the guy, or at least show everybody he was even. And what thing would happen if Shedeur Sanders was technically even with Cam Ward? That's when the cachet of his name would have soared him past him. He would have been a Tennessee Titan today. Because Cam Ward needed him to be out of there. And Cam Ward got him out of there. That's why Cam Ward was hanging around him and shit. Nah, I wouldn't have been hanging around. He wouldn't have been hanging around me. Nah, I had a Michael Jordan mentality. You ain't hanging nah. Well, hey man, nah. I'm competing with you, bro. You stay over there. You stay over there in Miami. I stay over here in Colorado. We ain't got no real. I'll holler at you when we get to the league, right? We holler at you when we get to the league. You know, I'll holler at you when you get to the league, man. I root for you from afar. We ain't got nothing. We ain't got no reason to work out. we, we ain't got no reason to work out together. Nah, we ain't got. Nah, I'll let you later, bro. Cam took his spot, man. Cam pulled a Jordan move on him, man. Befriended him. Took him spot. We learned a valuable lesson. But, you know, the Deion mentality is, man, we cool. We ain't got no problem with you. You know, I ain't worried about you. You ain't better than me. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe you better than me. You understand me? I ain't worrying about it. Nah. You in a position to do like your daddy. You're trying to stunt like your daddy. But you didn't show your best attribute like your daddy showed, though. That was the problem, Shedeur. You didn't show your best attribute. Your best attribute is your passing game. You didn't go out there and show that shit. You need to show that shit, man. You need to show that shit. Yeah, I ain't the fastest nigga. But I got good anticipation. I got great ball placement. You know what I'm saying? I can get out the way of some of these motherfuckers. Yeah, I took some sacks because I didn't want to make the play worse. But in the pro game, I've been all right. And hey, man, that's all we got to say, man. That's what we want to do. Because what we want to do is make America's game great again, baby. What? America's game's on the rise, baby. Power of you people. Don't take me up there, though. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, this is my shit, bitch. Now, this is mine. You can't find this nowhere else. Yes, indeed, man. Hope everybody have a great day. I hope everybody do great about this game. And we finna get ready to get up out here, y'all. You know what I mean? No flesh holding me down. I break from the chains. Getting off the city. I did in the flames. In the realm of life. I find my way. Transforming the struggle into a brand new day. Fucking with spirit. Let the music soar. How can I feel it? Who could ask for more? Off the negativity, I'm feeling alive. Dancing with my higher self. Watch me thrive. Yes, indeed. Watch this game fly, baby. Yes, indeed. We had a lovely, 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 lovely day. Let the music soar. The line feelings. For more. Myself, let me fly. Who you blame? America's show. America's game show topic of the day where we discussed it. Who was to blame? Was it Deion, Coach Prime, or was it Shedeur? Call herself legendary Shedeur Sanders. But we're going to find out now. That's over. We're going to sit back and we're going to watch. And we're going to watch what we know. We're going to watch what we know. What's that? We're going to see where they're America. In America, with Shedeur and Deion's game was show from 25 and beyond. So I hope everybody has a great, 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 great game day. And we mean what we say what we mean, we put the information down. All right.
America's game, we're rounds to the high. This is our time, the stage is set. The game belongs to the people, we won't be denied. With courage and strength.
Y'all have a great day. We out of here. America's Game Show host is out this bitch.
Oh, yeah. From coast to coast, see the banners unfurl. Voices together, watch the power swirl. No longer silent, we're ready to roar. With passion and purpose, we're ready for more. To chase the sea, the game belongs to the people, we won't be denied. With courage and strength, we take a stride. Together we fight, hand in hand, side by side. America's game, it's our turn to guide. Join the movement, feel the flow. America's game, time to grow, time to grow. This turns this